So, hello everybody, and welcome back to the episode number 2 of the New Vision podcast. And I'm really excited to be recording this one with fellow guests Friedrich and Nick Weiser. So, do you want to introduce yourselves, or do you feel like people know who you guys are, or we are?
Did that in the first episode,
What we
don't
do?
Yeah,
I mean,
we
yeah,
did
if
a slight introduction to the first episode.
If you don't know who any of us are, you're welcome to go back onto the first episode out on all platforms, link in the description. You can, see a little bit about us in that episode. And what are we talking about today?
Don't know. What are we talking
No
about
one
today?
Is it just a fluid one? I mean, I had an idea in mind as to where we sort of go through our New Year's resolutions and what our plans are for the year.
Yeah.
I think that sets things off quite nicely. What do you think?
I like the idea of that.
That's
Yep.
a brilliant subject to talk about. Great topic.
Sounds good. So, I mean, where do we start with this? First of all, what have you guys been up to today? I'm curious. I know you've been working, Nick. So.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. Just been working,
Fair enough.
getting that bread,
I mean,
hustling.
today has been a really funny day for me, a weird day, because I came back to work yesterday after 2 weeks of holidays, and yesterday I found out that today is a national bank holiday, and I didn't know that. So I could have taken holiday off yesterday and then returned from my actual holiday today. So it's kind of like I was sitting here this morning and I didn't have anything planned because I thought I would have to go to work, and I was like, meh, okay, now I just have to, but I got some stuff done. You just push up to yourselves.
Yeah.
Like you say you're gonna do it next week, but you don't. So I did some of that stuff today, which is good. Which is also something that happens with the New Year's resolutions a lot. So yeah.
Procrastinating's a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm quite bad with that as well. I say I'm going to get something done, and it doesn't get done for weeks. And that's a big thing for me this year. I've started to write down today actually, in my book I have here, and I started writing down 3 main goals of the year, and then I want to break them goals down into sub goals.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big thing for me this year. And then if I can achieve, say if I break if I break one of them goals down into 5 or 10 different points as to how I can achieve them and then get to the main goal. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying to do this year. So
Yeah.
And stop procrastinating is definitely one of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. For me, I guess, I really, really, really want to be able to upload to YouTube and do it properly. And I haven't, ever since I've started working, just because, it's difficult going into that environment where you're working more than a 9 to 5, and then coming home and then wanting to spend
to pursue your own things.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's difficult, but
I feel you.
yeah, it's definitely something. It's been a tipping point for a long time between the having the motivation to do it, and for a time I didn't even really want to do it, but now I'm really just I feel passionate about it, and that's what's good with these podcasts, because it's good to it's something we can put out there, and it doesn't take. All it really takes is an hour of talking and then a little bit of editing. It doesn't really take as much as say a proper video would, and it's just something we can put out there, and if we could do it consistently every week like this, which I'm fairly sure we can, if we're just because there's not really we tried it before and it didn't work, but that's because it took way too long and too much effort to make an episode. But with this format, it just doesn't take that long, and I feel like we can. And it also helped me with my structure and stuff throughout the year. And if I can be making this and constantly creating, it constantly keeps me in the loop.
I'll have to leave for a
of it.
second, guys. I left the door open.
No worries. Do we continue,
Alright.
or are you going to cut this out, Nick?
Break my editing. Now I'll be in his slot on the anyway. We can cut it. Okay, is he back?
Okay.
Right,
Okay,
sorry, guys.
back.
You back? You ready?
So yeah, making videos, that's my main focus of the year, and makes if I do not do that. I said in the last episode to burn down my house, and people in the comments thought that was quite funny. People in the comments thought it was quite funny.
Yeah.
But
Your parents would
I
go
don't mean
mental at
I don't
you
mean
if
that
actually
legally.
happened.
For legal reasons, that's a joke. But yeah, I definitely. It's just like I feel it's time to do that, and I'm glad I've had all these years of experience with making videos, because my beginning videos were shocking. They were awful, and they were awful for many years, and slowly got better and better to the point where I am now, where I think I could do it professionally. But yeah, other than that, just making music, because I've enjoyed making music and producing like better stuff, I guess.
You do a lot creatively if you think about it. There's nothing that you don't really do. I've just come to think of it, like you've done a bit of everything. You've made
True,
YouTube
yeah.
videos. I mean, you've probably got a Vimeo account at this point.
I
It
do
wouldn't surprise
have a
me. Or
Vimeo
like
account.
there we go, like Flickr or like Pinterest. You know, all these. You've like dipped your toe in everything. I wanted to say quickly, because I know you mentioned then about making YouTube videos. I feel like, and I was guilty of this at the start as well. I feel like a lot of people, like when they try and make YouTube videos, they think it's such an easy thing to do. And they think, right, YouTube's a dream job. Like it's so easy. You just record yourself, or you just speak about stuff, or, you know, it's a fun job and it's easy. But there are like real hard challenges when it comes to making YouTube videos. Like it's like what people don't see is the behind the scenes. If there's like a 20-minute video uploaded to YouTube, which is a long video, there's probably like 3 hours of filming involved, and then you had to edit all of that and cut it all out. So it's worth mentioning, because although like I've had a good start this year, touch wood, with my YouTube. I have like 2 videos already uploaded and 1 video scheduled, but I don't know how long I'm going to be able to keep that up for, because you need the creative ideas to keep flowing in, and then you need to be able to execute that to a point where you like it. And I'm trying a big goal, not goal, but like a resolution on topic actually. Yeah, a good resolution for me this year is to kind of like forget about all the numbers and that aspect of things. So to not care about my views, my comments, it's nice to have that, but I think that's one thing that sets a lot of people back from creating content, including me. I just want to be able to just publish it, and it's just there. Like if people want to watch it, cool. If they don't, I'm not doing it for the views. I'm doing it to fulfill the gap in my life, the creative gap.
100%, yeah.
Also, shout out right here in the podcast to Sam's and Nick's YouTube channel.
Okay, cool.
What do we want to jump into next? So we've talked about you wanna start YouTube, and well, not started, but consistently upload this year. Friedrich, what about you? What are your long-term goals for the end of this year or throughout the year?
Yeah, there's been a lot of so what I did in the last 2 years, which has worked phenomenally well, is I started this 2019. This was a new strategy I thought which would be quite cool. So so I started this 2019, and what I want to do now every year, or which I have been doing since 2019, is I start the year with like a certain amount of goals I want to achieve. Then by March I check, okay, how much of that have I done? And then I start realizing what is realistic for this year. And and then by September, which is just before Q4 starts, I think about, okay, what have I done this year, and what is like next for like what can I still manage this year, or what do I even have to put into next year. But funny enough, in 2020, that all went a little bit different. So by March, I was already thinking about, okay, this is what I've done. What's going to be next? Like, what is going to be my next few steps this year? And then Corona came at middle of March or whatever, and so like by April or May, so much stuff got cancelled. Like it's like all of my year got cancelled nearly. And so that gave me time in March and June to think about, okay, so I've got so much time, and I don't even know, like I've got so much time, and I've got not enough like goals to put in there. And that actually was quite, at the beginning I thought, okay, this is crap. But then I thought, well, this is a great thing, because in the summer of 2020, like July, August, I was going for a run every day, which made me really fit, like for the short term. But yeah, I should have kept that up, which I didn't. Well, but that's, for example, one thing I want to do in 2020 is do more sport and drink more water. Drink 3 liters of water a day, which I've been like doing quite a lot in the last year as well, but not just every day. So yeah, but yeah. So this year I'm trying to figure out if the strategy I used 2019 and last year, if that's still good. Just to see by March, okay, like how's it going? How has the year started? How am I gonna continue? And then by September, yeah, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out if that's a good strategy to go with. I mean, it kind of made sense to me, but on the other hand, it didn't work out for last year, and I don't know, in the uncertainty we're currently living, if that's still gonna be a good way to go. Yeah. So, how do you guys keep up with your schedules? Like, do you do it every day, or I mean, I looked into my list for 2020 of like goals I had to do. Like I had them. No, I mean I didn't look into them every day, but I had them in my head every day. I was like, okay, this is what I'm currently focusing on. This is what I'm currently doing, and then I focus on that. So yeah, just out of curiosity, like how do you guys use your how do you guys do it? Like, how do you follow your New Year's resolutions?
Go for it, Nick.
Okay.
Tell us how you follow your.
I'm not always successful at it. Quite a lot of the time.
I feel like you would be. You strike me as a guy that's very organized.
And
like you get a lot of stuff done.
this actually helps me segue into something that I've been thinking about sort of recently as well. But a lot of the way I view stuff on like a much, like, I don't want to say like grander level, but even I think about like purpose a lot and stuff, and so for stuff like procrastinating, I've gained a bit of an, especially in the past couple of years, I've gained more of awareness of there's two versions of myself, and one of the versions of myself is myself in the moment, and the one is who I actually am, and myself in the moment isn't always who I actually am. So for myself in the moment, it doesn't want to go out for a run because it's raining. Myself in like my actual self does want me to go for a run, but like the circumstantial me doesn't want to go for a run. So I know what you mean. I tend to try and think as like who I actually am, because and try and think not like in the not in the present, but like very wide. And that has its like good things, its bad things, but it definitely helps me to, when there's something I don't want to do, or it's like too much effort or whatever, it helps me like complete that even if I don't want to, but not all the time. But then
I seen a thing not too long ago, and it was I can't remember if it was like a quote or a TikTok video, or I read it somewhere. We like consume so much content these days. I couldn't tell you where I consumed it from, but it said something like, I mean, I've seen this multiple times, I think, but it's along the lines of your future self is looking back at yourself now and reviewing what you did. I can't remember. That sounds really like it doesn't make sense, but it was something along the lines of like basically what you just said, Nick, where your future version of yourself is looking back on what you're doing right now and assessing whether that was good for you or not. Because if you think now, if you think back to 2020 during the lockdown as an example, straight away you're thinking like, okay, did I do what's right for me? How did I make the most of my time? What was I doing? Did I enjoy myself? Whereas, and then there's another quote again, well, not quote, but sort of another saying that goes along with this as well, and it's, you probably heard this one. It goes along the lines of like, you don't know that you're in the good old days until like afterwards, if that makes sense. So
Until
like,
you're in the good old days.
We didn't
Is that
know
what
we
it
were
is?
making memories. We were just having fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's loads
That's
of like
that's a
cringe
good one as
quotes,
well. Yeah.
but it's a good mindset to have if you kind of like have not an outer body experience, but you like stop for a minute and think of your future self and whether your future self would be grateful for what you're doing now. It helps definitely, because it gets you out the mindset of like, okay, I'll do it after, or I'll leave it for now, or I don't need to do it. And I mean, I'm the worst for it. Like today, I was like, I again, just like you said, Friedrich, you run about drinking water a lot and going for runs, and I'm the exact same. I really want to stop fitness and, more importantly, drink water, but like no other drink to an extent. Obviously, have the odd like coffee and stuff, but predominantly water, or for example 3 liters a day. And I mean, today as an example, I was awful. Like I went out and played football, and I thought, okay, I could waste my money on like a monster can that's really bad for me and it's really expensive, or go home and drink water. And I bought a monster can. And whereas like now, me in the future, from there, I'm like, why did I do that? I didn't need that. It didn't quench my thirst. I still drank water when I got home. I just wasted my money and then, drank this awful substance. Whereas like, if I would have put more thought in the process of what I'd be thinking now, I probably wouldn't have done it, and just, But I mean, I guess we're all quite similar in that way. If you have like a productive mindset, we're all trying to think how we can, positively affect our future.
But I mean, we all, we humans are like, it sounds very evolutionary if I say this, but we are very belly driven. If there was a sentence, if man's belly was fed, was it fed? I can't remember. If man's belly would be fed, I can't remember how it goes. But anyway, there was this good quote, and the thing was just, if man's belly would, like, if we would just like would not be belly driven, if we would not like do everything in the sense of kind of getting the most out of us. I don't know, that sounds, I don't know, like I'm trying to explain myself here, but it was this thing that I'm hoping not to drift off here. It was like, if we, you know what? I'll get back to this in the next episode. I'll try and research it, and then I'll get back to it, because it's.
I'm trying to look for the quote. I'm trying to look for the quote that you mentioned, and then I can't find it.
Yeah.
There was something I did. What I've done it quite a few times, but I did that 16 personalities thing. The like personality test where it tells you what personality type you are. And
which one are you, Nick?
Which is what I wanted to. I can't remember the name of it. It's the one that I think it's Johnny Depp.
I can find it. I think
I'm not sure.
We have it saved on one of our chats, Nick. I was the same as Robert Downey Jr. That's like the biggest thing for me. It's so cool. Let me find it. I think we have it saved.
Okay.
I'll just check.
But
I've got it in my. I put it in my journal. Which one I am.
I'll have to have a look. But
I'll find which one me and you are, Nick. I bet I can find it.
Are we the same one?
No, but I think Look, we both posted. So there's an Adobe one as well that we did. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah. What kind of creative
an Adobe one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently I am a visionary, imagining the impossible. I didn't, and then you're a dreamer.
Mm-hmm.
You screenshotted like what yours.
The reason I brought it up is because when we're talking about how do you keep your like motivated to do your stuff, and like how Sam said that I seem like someone who that is very organized and everything.
Mm-hmm.
With my type, because there's two types of my type. There is one that is turbulent, and then which I am, I feel, and then one that is something else, where more like passive. I'm not sure, but I read this and I was like, this is exactly me, because the turbulent one, despite becoming like doing more work, is more likely to say that they're lazy because they have such high expectations for themselves. And I think I automatically set like really high expectations for myself. So for example, like in 2020, I feel like I feel a lot of the time like subconsciously like I'm lazy and I'm not doing enough, or I've not got far enough. But then I look back and I've actually done a lot, and I don't tend to acknowledge that because I'm really hard on myself work-wise, I guess.
People say this to me all the time. Like my perfectionist videos, like a similar, like it's like an anomaly, not anomaly. What's the word? Like it's a projection of what we're saying. But I mean, a lot of people, I say to people all the time, I'm like, I'm so lazy and I could be doing this and should be doing this, and they're like, you do realize when we always talk, the only thing you ever talk about is what you're doing next, or like how you're going to improve your business, or
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'm still always harsh on myself because I know I always talk about it, but I'm never like, I still feel like I'm never like acting upon that. Like I'm always thinking about it and always actively thinking of new ways to improve myself or what it is I want to do next, but I still think there are things that I could be doing. I mean, but I suppose it's good to switch off sometimes and just have like some time where it's good to be lazy and to just like lay in bed scrolling through TikTok. I mean, that sounds like that's probably not true, but for example, then to go for like a walk just by yourself, or to listen to music. Sometimes it's good and it's inspiring to. I seen a thing earlier today actually, and it was based on people that struggle productively with what they're trying to do, and the guy, I think he's a psychologist, I think, so it made sense that it came from him. But he was talking about the fact that when you're doing something productive, a lot of the time your brain wants to do other things as well, or if it's struggling to solve a problem, it will want to do something else while it figures out that problem, something along them lines. Instead of like, because he was talking about people that have these applications that, like, if you on like productivity apps, where if you're on your phone and you go onto like Twitter, it gives you a notification. It's like you should be doing work right now. And he was saying, instead of having an app like that or thinking like that, put your phone down and go for a walk, or go and do something else that involves nothing but you and yourself, just like thinking in your own brain. And that's a way of occupying your brain and yourself without doing, scrolling through social media. And apparently that's like a really good way to clear your mind again, and then when you come back to do work, you're like focused and productive again.
Yeah,
I don't know if that made sense. I hope it did.
It did.
It did make
I mean,
sense.
I just turned off all social media notifications like Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I don't even get them on my phone, which is good, because then I can like decide myself when I want to go onto Instagram or onto social media apps, which is still quite a lot, and which I want to get away from. But still, I have the power of my own of saying, okay, now I just want to go and check to see if there's anything new. But still, it's still it's a lot. I check my phone.
I've done the
I
same
want to
thing,
delete social media at some point.
I've done that before. I did that for.
I really want to
weeks.
just delete it for like. I've tried it for like a week, and I like struggled. And it's not like I wasn't lacking anything from social media. I was lacking the addiction of just scrolling through the like Instagram and Twitter, and well, not even Twitter. I don't really use Twitter, but TikTok and Snapchat. Like I'm always going from social media to social media, but there's never anything there that satisfies me or what I'm looking for. It's just it's like smokers, right? You hear a lot of smokers when they're trying to quit, and they say they still need to have something here, so they'll have like pens and they'll be like this. I mean, yeah, I think this is true. And they're like they need the physical action of smoking.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just tried to smoke a pencil.
That's
I mean,
a highlight.
I've heard this I've heard this from people that are listening and not like watching. I just tried to smoke a pencil. But I've definitely heard this from multiple people that have tried to quit. Like they need the physical action. It's like an addiction. It's a routine. It's not necessarily what they're getting from it. Obviously, nicotine's an addiction, and we release dopamine when we're scrolling through social medias. But I feel like a lot of it is more the routine and the actual scrolling, or you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I'm not very
I
good at
feel with this past half year, I've managed to cut down on my social media usage. That's one thing I'm pretty proud of in 2020. Is do not deleted Twitter. No, haven't downloaded it since. And because Twitter always
don't
seems to be
even use Twitter.
negative, and I just it wasn't good for me. I don't have Facebook. I don't have Snapchat or anything like that. I have all my notifications turned off. And on Instagram, I cut down the amount of people I was following, and I guess muted people's stories who post too much, or posts that I don't get like, that aren't like my close friends or whatever.
It'd be interesting to see a list of all the people that you've blocked or like muted. Sorry.
Nah.
Disclosure.
And I also mainly browse. I mainly browse Instagram on my private account, which I only follow like 40 people, and most of them are just like the Hillsong accounts. So there's a lot of like positivity there, but I don't tend to use it as often as I did. I used to use it all the time, 24/7, but now there's like tend to listen to more podcasts. I'm starting to read more books again, which I'm enjoying, and also doing creative stuff because although I'm not uploading YouTube videos, I spend so much time making music, and it's something that I find so easy to do, so it doesn't feel like I'm being productive, but I am, I guess. But yeah,
getting into the flow state's important. It's good if you're enjoying it or not feeling like it's work, or if you. This is another big thing, like with everything, with me in particular, when it comes to like making YouTube videos or journaling or doing or meditating or going for walks or runs or whatever. If you feel like it's like you have to do it, this is why a lot of people don't set like a routine, although it's good to have one. If you've already said that you have to do it and this is when you're going to do it, a lot of the time, it's a natural thing for human beings. We'll procrastinate and not do it because we've said we're going to do it. It's like if someone says, don't, in school, don't talk to your friend, you're going to talk to your friend. That's probably a bad analogy, but I mean, it's like, because you've already said we're going to do it,
I know
we're
what you
trying
mean.
to...
It's like saying, don't think of the pink elephant, and then you think of the pink elephant.
Yeah. Thank you. That was a better analogy than whatever I tried to use. But yeah, so I'm trying to just like, I'm trying to be like forgiving with myself as well. Just like let it be. If I'm not productive one day, so what? As long as I'm to some extent happy, or as long as I'm, fulfilled, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Life's too short to be like so negative on yourself.
I do struggle with that quite a bit. I'm the sort of person that always sets, like, if I get a late night or whatever, then I'll set my alarm for 5 a.m. and just hope that I can get up, even though I can't, and then I'll like beat myself up all day about it for getting up late.
I do that. I did that 2 days ago.
But there's one thing that I found it from a Matt Diavella video. I decided to try it. I got a Chemex coffee thingy. If you watch a Matt Diavella video and he swirls coffee around like this with a filter in it,
yep,
then you know what I'm talking about. But
yep,
I've every morning since I've got it, I've put my phone away, and I've just because it takes a while to make coffee because you've just got to pour the water in and wait and stuff. It's really kind of therapeutic, and it helps pull my mornings together. Yeah, basically.
Have any of you tried?
Helped.
Sorry, carry on, Nick.
No,
Have any of you tried? Have any of you tried cold showers, like freezing cold showers or baths?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Let me tell you, I just 10 minutes before we started this podcast, I had a cold shower. Every time I go for a run, I'm super, my body is sweating. I'm super, I've got a high temperature, and then I don't even want to have a warm shower. It just feels so uncomfortable. So yeah, having a cold shower really like cools you down and makes you fresh. Makes you go, oh, now I can start the day. You know, which is kind of bad for this evening time. But if I
Yeah.
would have done it this morning, I probably would have had a more productive day today than I actually did.
I got
There's supposed to be so many health benefits.
yeah,
Sorry, Nick. I feel like I keep cutting you off. This is the annoying thing about doing it over
yeah,
like
no.
over Discord and not being like in person. I always dread this happening. But yeah, carry on. What were you saying?
I got recommended by Scarlett. I know she's probably watching, so hi. But I got recommended to do
Hi,
it for
Scarlett.
like 20 seconds or 15 seconds, like at the end of your shower. That because,
I've been told
like,
this too.
and I've done that almost every shower since then, and it actually works. It really works. It helps wake me up quite a bit, which is difficult because I'm not very good, easy to wake up. But
I have to agree.
I do find benefits from it. I'm not sure on the science. I know it's I don't know. There's arguments one way and the other probably, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of things like that,
Sorry, Sam. But
Alright,
I know one thing that definitely is very healthy to do is to drink less coffee. Like, I absolutely love coffee. I worked as a barista and did in my gap year, and I did so many coffee things, and I even made my own drinks. It's amazing. It's an awesome job. I like serving people, you know, and I also like to drink coffee. So I love coffee so much. But I stopped because I got braces. And with braces, your teeth hygiene is kind of difficult. You know, you have to, it's difficult. And if you then also drink coffee, you know, your teeth are gonna get even yellower than they are. So I stopped because of that reason. I didn't want to have, like, after I had my braces off, super yellow teeth. So that's the reason why I stopped. But also, it made me sleep better at night because I used to drink like one coffee in the morning and maybe two in the afternoon or whatever. And then I would still have caffeine in my body like by, I don't know, 8 p.m. or something. So I've stopped that, and it absolutely helped me so much. And also coffee dehydrates you a little bit. So instead of drinking coffee, I've been drinking, a lot of water since then. And I recently also did a blood test just to do a blood test, and they found out like I have really good blood. How do you say it? Value? Blood test? I don't know. Just
blood
it was a
levels,
very good.
oxygen
Blood
levels.
level. Yeah, it was a really good blood level because I was drinking a lot of water, and I'm like, oh, this is great. This is nice to see that it actually made a big difference. You know, I was a doctor. I was like, oh, this is cool. And and then so that was kind of a very nice feeling, but so yeah, sorry.
It's funny you should say that. No, because I mean, what I was gonna say linked like perfectly with that, which is quite funny. You won't believe me, but I was gonna talk about coffee directly, but I mean, it's the same with quite a few things for me. I think I mentioned this briefly with you, Friedrich, when we tried to do the first podcast episode a long time ago in terms of journaling and how it's supposed to have like a positive effect. I think this with like caffeine, not just coffee, but like caffeine in general. So energy drinks, coffee, however else you consume caffeine. I've never directly like had a coffee or an energy drink for that matter or anything and thought like, okay, this has affected me. Like I'm really energized now. And I don't know why. Everybody I've like spoken to has always like, you know, sort of noticed the difference from caffeine. It makes you more energized for the day or, you know, stuff like that. But like I have coffee most mornings and I've never thought like it makes me more awake in the day. I just drink it because I like it.
Oh yeah,
And
I can
think
tell you that.
Yeah, is it? I mean, it's not a placebo. It's obviously scientifically proven that it's gonna make you more awake. That's not a very good vocabulary, but you know what I mean.
The science behind it is it doesn't make you more awake. It just gets rid of. It stops the chemical that makes you feel tired. So
Same thing.
but then it stops
Exactly
it.
the same
but
thing.
then after a
it
certain
stops
amount of
the
time,
melatonin.
you get it. You get more of it. So that's what the crash is, I guess. But also for me, it keeps me awake, and like helps wake me up and stuff. But like sorry, I was just thinking of that song. But I will say I have started not drinking coffee in the afternoons, and I think I said about this on the first podcast. but it does help because ever since I was a kid, I've had sleeping issues. It's just a thing, and it especially happens when I'm stressed, which is 2020. So I've had it quite a bit. I tried like not drinking coffee in the afternoons just to like help that, but whilst it does have a difference, it doesn't have that much of a difference, I guess, from my experimentation. But I do feel a bit better in the afternoons. I don't know why. Because I don't have like the crash from like caffeine, I guess, as much. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far, and I've cut down from like 4 coffees a day to like 2. So, but
I also
like,
want to eat really healthy. Yeah.
But then like better quality coffee, because I am now. I think I showed this in the previous one, but this is.
I don't think you did.
This is a Yellow Bourbon coffee. Shout out Yellow Bourbon, but they are like
Please sponsor us.
They're like a local coffee like roaster, and they sell their own like coffee on subscription, and I get it. It's really nice, and that's what I use with my Chemex in the morning. But yeah, shout out, not sponsored. Hashtag not an ad.
Yeah. I also want to start eating healthy this year as well. I've got a really fast metabolism, so no matter at this moment in time, I'm not saying this is going to stay the same, but it doesn't matter what I eat. Like I don't seem to put on weight. Like, and people are like, yeah, one day I'll catch up with you. But I mean, like, yeah, when you leave school, yeah, when this happens, yeah, when this happens. And I mean, I'm obviously still very young, but so far, like, I can eat for Britain, I can eat for the world, and I just do not put weight on. But I mean, it's good, but I need to kind of factor in that it's also not very good for my insides. I mean, I'm not the worst eater. I definitely do eat healthy to an extent. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm not factoring it, but I am. But I should be factoring in more, like, if I eat really unhealthy, it's not very good for my insides. Like, just because I can't see the physical effects of it being bad, like, it is. Does that make sense? Like, I want to start eating a lot more healthy. And I mean, I'm not an unhealthy eater by any stretch, really. I do eat healthy, but I want to eat more healthy. I made a mouthful of that then, but yeah, I mean, I want to have I want to try and stick to my 5 a day, and eat more fruit. If I want to go and get if I go downstairs for a snack now, for example, it will be crisps, chocolate, but I want to change that to an apple or something else that's healthy. A carrot, that'd be nice.
I definitely.
Yeah, carrot helps your eyesight, which is good.
That's a myth, That was a World War II myth. From what you know.
So also a question for you two people, or for all 3 of us, that just came to mind actually, is what of your New Year's resolution from last year has worked really well? I mean, of course, not every year's resolution works really well, and I've had multiple, but one. Well, here's first I have to finish the question, obviously. So, which resolution has worked well last year? That you're going to double down on this year. So for me personally, that's reading. I increased my reading by probably 100%, and I've read a book a month, which is really really good. I've read actually more than that. I've read 17 books last year, which is amazing, and I think I've read 17 books in my life before that. So yeah, up to 2019 I've been reading 17 books, probably not even that, but so yeah, I'm gonna double down on that for this year and try and read even more than that, maybe even double if I can. So yeah, question to you guys: what has worked well last year that you're gonna double down on this year?
For me personally, last year, if you want me to be completely honest, any of the New Year's resolutions that I set last year weren't set in stone because of what happened. The year started off great for me, and I wanted to. I know one of my New Year's resolutions was to be more positive and to stop judging people as much, and to start. It was very personal based as opposed to business related. It was more be more happy, make more friends, stuff like that. And if I'm honest, based on everything that's happened last year, I've not really had an opportunity as such to like hone in on them and see whether they've worked for me, and I've not really put them into practice. I can't remember any of my New Year's resolutions from the start of 2020 that I've like stuck to throughout the year and progressed with. So if I'm honest, it's kind of like a fresh, clean slate, as if like last year was a one-off, and like that was a free pass, and this year it's like the real thing, if that makes sense.
But I mean, there must be one thing, like one.
Genuinely, I can't think of anything that I set at the start of the year that I was happy with throughout the year that I'd improved. Honestly, I mean, okay. I think Nick will have a different answer. Nick will probably
10 things.
Be more positive. Yeah.
I do have one thing.
Ask me that in a year's time.
I do have one thing, which is in December. December 2019, I decided I was going to release an album publicly, because I've been hiding my music for like 2 years, and then I was just like, why don't I just go full in and make an album? And I spent hundreds of hours on it, and I did it eventually. I'm not like incredibly happy with it. There's a lot of like mixing errors that I wish I could go back and change.
There, you know.
But like, yeah, it was very scary.
You've done it.
It was very scary to like put yourself out there.
Sorry.
Because it was very like personal as well.
I watch
the songs.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I wanted to say, continue until you're finished.
No, take the stage.
Okay, right. I wanted to say.
Well, I wanted to say that
I watch a YouTuber called Ali Abdal. He's amazing. I really love his content. And he was saying that we should, or when it comes to stuff like that with your music as well, we should not at the beginning care about quality. We should just care about quantity. Like, because after quantity, things get better anyway. Like, Nick, you're 100 times better than the first video that you've created. Same for me. Like, I've not created as much as you, but I still created a lot of videos as well throughout my youth and now as well. So yeah, I've like increased that as well. Same for you, Sam, as well, probably. So stuff like that is good, Nick, that you've got it out, you know, you've created it and you put a lot of time into it. And if you do more and more and more, you know, that quantity will someday add up to a really good quality album that will probably take off. So yeah, so that's what I learned from Ali Abdal, which was really good. So yeah, that's what
I agree with that. Gary V said the same thing. He's a motivational speaker. I know Nick knows who he is. Nick's a big fan.
I think everyone knows.
I mean, oh yeah, you've got the same book as me, haven't you? I think we have the same one. It's the Gary V. Oh no, okay, I have a different one. Me and Nick have the same one then, right? Yeah, I have that one.
Which one is it? Is that the jab one?
Or is it arm's distance? Yeah. No, I've got hashtag Ask Gary V.
I can't wait for his next one.
Hashtag Ask Gary V, that's the one. I don't even want to get it out, but it's the same as yours, Nick. If I get it out, everything's gonna fall. It shows how much I read. That's probably one thing I should set as a New Year's resolution, getting back on topic. I want to read more books. Last year, I must have read like, probably not even a full book, and that pains me to say.
Oh, but like I tell you, Sam, like, yeah, if you read like a book a month, or maybe a book in 2 months, right, which is realistic, I tell you, you'll be like a different person after this year, because like I'm definitely a different person compared to the beginning of 2020, because not just because of Corona, of course, I mean that all changed us, but because I read, like the amount I've read, like you know, because of with reading, you actually have like real professionals, like, or most of the time you have real professionals talking about their area that they're really good in their profession, and you just learn so much. You know, a lot of these books are really are deep dives into their whatever they're doing. So yeah, I learned so much last year by reading. It really widened my horizon. And I surprised my gran actually when I told her how much I read, and she was like, well, all you need in life is reading. It widens your horizon.
I was listening to a podcast, I think it was not too long ago, and I can't remember what podcast it was or who was talking, but the guy that was talking said, it's not about how many books you read, it's about it's about the content that you consume. So he said, for example, if you're trying to learn something new, instead of like, if you don't want to read a full book or your attention span's not good enough to do that, it still makes a difference if you're to open a book to a random page and just and gain information from that page, and then you want to read a different book instead of feeling like you have to. Because this was a big thing for me last year. The reason I didn't read so many books was because throughout most of the year I was on one book and I smashed through it for the first like few days, and then after that I stopped reading it because I got a bit bored, and I felt like I couldn't go on to another book because I still had a few pages left on this old book that I didn't want to read. Whereas he mentioned, like, it doesn't matter where you are in a book, how many books you read, just pick up a book and read from it. You know, all knowledge is good knowledge, really. If you can, I mean, I've got loads of books up here that are about self-help and self-progress and stuff. Self-help sounds really deep, but like self-progression. And I can pick any one of them up and go to any page and read it out. And it doesn't matter what I read, that's going to be beneficial to me. And I think that's a good thing to take away from this podcast. Anyone listening, if you want to read or you don't read or you're thinking about it, just, I mean, read anything, find a book, and you don't have to read it start to finish. Just even look in the index, find a topic that catches you by attention the most, and go from there.
On that motivational speech, do you reckon it's time to wrap up?
So guys, thank you so much for watching the podcast. I'm doing this with a makeshift flashlight because my actual light ran out. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. We covered obviously as much as we could. It was more about New Year's resolutions and how we're going to improve our mindset and what we do for the new year. If you enjoyed the podcast, please leave a big thumbs up and also share it with your friends. Help us get the word out that we're doing a podcast, and hopefully we can continue to do this every week. Hopefully you enjoyed. And is there anything else you guys want to say?
Also, just a huge thank you to my mom who's watching. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to anyone on my side who's watching.
That's
as
it.
well. All right.
I don't think I have any friends or family. I'm just a loner. Anyway, thank you guys.
See you next
See you,
episode.
everybody. Bye. Cool.